"She's too stupid to be a doctor," her own mother said, loud enough for everyone to hear. 6 years later, the same woman sat frozen in a hospital chair as her daughter walked in wearing the title chief of surgery. "She's too stupid to be a doctor." The words fell heavy, sharp, and final. They were not whispered in private. They were spoken in a crowded kitchen, with neighbors close enough to hear. With laughter following like salt in an open wound, the girl stood still. She did not cry. She did not argue. She simply lowered her eyes and felt something inside her crack, then harden. Her name was Eliza. She was 16 years old, thin, awkward, with hair that never stayed neat and hands that always smelled faintly of soap and books. She had just come home from school, holding a paper with red marks and notes scribbled along the side. She had failed a test again, not because she didn't care, but because her mind moved slower than others when numbers crowded together. Her mother looked at the paper, scoffed, and waved it like proof. "Doctors are smart," her mother said. "You can't even pass this. Be realistic. Don't embarrass yourself." Eliza nodded. She had learned early that silence hurt less than arguing. That night, she lay on her narrow bed, staring at the cracked ceiling. The house smelled of old cooking oil and laundry soap. Outside, a car passed, music low and distant. She pressed her hands to her chest and felt her heart beat, steady and stubborn. She did not dream of being famous. She did not dream of praise. She dreamed of helping, of fixing what was broken, of standing between pain and people who could not fight it alone. She remembered being 9 years old, sitting in a hospital hallway while her father lay behind closed doors after a long surgery. She remembered the doctor who came out, tired but kind, explaining everything slowly, clearly, like Elisa mattered. That was the first time she thought, this is what strength looks like. Her father never came home. Complications, they said. Bad luck. After that, hospitals became places of fear and comfort at the same time. Eliza returned again and again, volunteering, cleaning chairs, refilling water cups. She watched doctors closely. She noticed things others missed. How a nurse's hands shook when a patient cried. How a surgeon paused before entering an operating room, breathing once, deeply, but at home. None of that mattered. Her mother worked long hours and carried her own bitterness like armor. Life had taught her to survive, not to dream. And when Eliza spoke of becoming a doctor, her mother heard risk failure, shame. "You're not made for this world," her mother said once. "Some people are just average." Eliza swallowed those words whole. School was not easy. Her grades were uneven. She struggled with exams timed like races. Teachers often sighed, telling her to aim lower, to choose something simpler. A desk job. A safe path. But something strange happened when Eliza stepped into real spaces. Hospitals, clinics, emergency rooms. Her hands steadied. Her thoughts cleared. She learned by doing, by seeing, by touching. She could remember faces, symptoms, small changes others ignored. She stayed calm when alarms rang. She listened when people spoke through fear. One doctor noticed. He was older, with tired eyes and a voice worn soft by years of bad news. He watched Eliza during her volunteer shifts. How she stayed late. How she asked questions, not to impress, but to understand. "Why do you want this so badly?" he asked her once. Eliza thought carefully. "Because someone once stood between me and the worst day of my life," she said, "and I want to be that person for someone else." The doctor nodded. He did not smile. He simply said, "Then don't let anyone decide for you." Medical school rejected her twice. Each letter felt like another door slammed shut. Her mother didn't hide her reaction. "I told you so," she said. "You're wasting time, Eliza." Worked nights. She saved money. She studied differently. She recorded lectures, replayed them while walking, while cleaning, while riding buses. She learned her own mind instead of fighting it. On the third attempt, she was accepted. Medical school was brutal. Long hours. Cold rooms. Endless pressure. Students around her seemed faster, sharper, louder. Some looked at her like she didn't belong. Some ignored her completely. Her mother never asked how she was doing. Eliza failed exams. She repeated courses. She cried alone in bathroom stalls. But she never quit. When it came time for clinical rotations, something shifted. Patients trusted her. They held her hand. They told her things they didn't tell others. Surgeons noticed how she prepared, how she double-checked, how she stayed focused when others panicked. Sleep became rare. Doubt became constant. But her purpose stayed solid. Residency nearly broke her. She missed birthdays, funerals, holidays. She lost friends who couldn't understand her absence. Her mother told people her daughter was still studying, with a tone that suggested delay, not achievement. But Eliza stayed. She learned surgery slowly, carefully. Her hands were steady. Her movements precise. She never rushed. She never showed off. One night, during a long emergency surgery, the lead surgeon froze. Complications piled up. The room said. Eliza spoke softly, suggested a solution. A small adjustment, it worked. The patient lived. From that night on, people noticed. Years passed, 6 of them, on the day Eliza was named chief of surgery. The hospital buzzed with quiet respect. Nurses smiled when they saw her name on the board. Doctors nodded as she passed. She stood in her office, now bright with morning light, holding the letter again, just to be sure. Chief of surgery, her phone buzzed. A hospital number. An emergency. Her mother had collapsed. Severe internal bleeding. Surgery needed immediately. Eliza's chest tightened. She closed her eyes once. Then she walked. In the waiting area, her mother sat pale and frightened, eyes darting around like a trapped animal. She looked up when Eliza entered, already dressed in surgical scrubs. Confusion crossed her face. Then disbelief. "What are you doing here?" her mother asked. Eliza's voice was calm. "I'm your surgeon." Silence fell. Her mother searched her face, as if looking for the girl she once dismissed. She found only confidence, control, quiet authority. You're a doctor?" her mother whispered. Eliza nodded. Chief of surgery, tears filled her mother's eyes. Not pride. Not yet. Fear, regret. "I didn't know," she said. "I didn't think you could." Eliza placed a gentle hand on her arm. "It doesn't matter now. I've got you." The surgery lasted hours. Eliza led with precision, calm, and care. She remembered every lesson, every failure, every long night. Her hands did not shake. Her mother survived. Days later, still weak but awake, her mother watched Eliza enter the room, clipboard in hand. "You saved my life," her mother said quietly. Eliza met her gaze. "I've been doing that for a long time." Tears fell freely now. "I was wrong," her mother said. "I was afraid. And I took it out on you." Eliza felt something heavy finally loosen inside her chest. "I know," she said. "And I forgive you." Word spread through the hospital, through the town, about the girl who was once told she was too stupid, about the woman who became chief of surgery. Eliza never bragged, never corrected people who doubted. She simply worked. And every time she scrubbed in, every time she stood under bright lights, she remembered one truth: being underestimated does not define you. What you do when no one believes in you does. If this story moved you, comment where you're watching from. Share your thoughts below. And subscribe for more powerful stories about resilience, purpose, and quiet strength.